Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I suppose we should say welcome back. This is game 3 of 4, and you've been hearing me and Joe's voice through the first few hours here, and hopefully you guys aren't annoyed of us yet, but we got a depleted, shorthanded Lincoln Prep team here against the number 2 overall team, number 3 overall in all of the OSBA and Central Tech this year, having an outstanding season. Central Tech is down their floor general, Kaleem Libbard-Mullings, with a concussion. But, boy, Joe, you want to get in depth about this depleted Lincoln Prep team?
Well, we're talking about the MVP, Jefferson Koulibaly, who's been the best player in the entire OSBA. He won't be here, and if they win this game, he wouldn't be there for the next game as well against Bill Crothers. So he's out. Lorenzo Barbari's also out this game, and this is a tough ask for these players on Lincoln Prep. But hey, you're here, you're in the moment.
We've seen more insurmountable efforts before. You see Malachi Davis with the steal. Kenny Nagasu. Nagasu going to try his luck outside, no good, and Cato comes down with the rebound.
And the thing is Lincoln Prep, they're playing with house money here. They have nothing to lose. They just got to play tough, play hard. That's all you can ask, and you never know. Central Tech came off of 2 pretty bad losses at the end of the regular season. They won their play-in, but you never know. Maybe the stars align here.
Johnson missing the tough layup, and on the rebound, no good. Ibawa couldn't get it to go, and here's Zachary John. Replacing Kaleem Libbard-Mullings tonight, who I mentioned earlier, is out with concussion, and Nagasu lays it in with the one hand, opening up the scoring here. Scotty Jenkins. No one's ever accused him of being shy with this jump shot. Takes a lot of threes. Just to give you an idea of how many threes he took, he's taken 183 threes so far this season. Jacob Buss to Cato. Nice mid-range shot, but misses everything that time but the mesh. Fuller. Jamal. No good. Up strong again is Atwee. Ibawa fighting for it, and he takes it out. Jacob Buss with an easy layup. Great transition bucket that time.
Yeah, you're right. That was fantastic. Moving in the transition, trying to get a good look early. And on the flip side, Jamal Fuller, I loved him attacking the paint there early. I know he can shoot the 3, but his game is predicated on driving to the basket, use your body, and he had a good look, but it just didn't go in. But I expect him to try to attack the paint a ton in this game.
Atwee with the baby hook, no good that time. Back comes Jenkins and the Huskies. Scotty going in. Miakame, no good. And Fuller, who's part of that all OSBA first team this year, deservingly so. Going in strong, that's got to be a charge, no? And that's what the refs call it. Well, I'll tell you, Tyson Cato getting up smiling, but he's going to feel it tomorrow morning. I wouldn't want to be run over by a guy like that. Inside, Ibawa takes it right back from Davis and draws the foul, and Atwee picks up another one.
Yeah, that was a great play by Malachi. He just couldn't end up moving in the transition, lost the ball, but right now I feel like Lincoln Prep, even though the score is only 2-2, it does feel like they're playing with a little bit of confidence. They are playing loose. They're not playing tight. It seems like they're just kind of playing with some confidence, knowing that, hey, we're the underdogs in this situation, but there's nothing you can do to change other than just play hard and play the best of your ability.
I'll be honest with you, Joe. I think there's a lot more pressure on Central Tech here.
Oh,
if they lose this
100%.
game, it's just disappointing because they had a chance. They were well in the lead of the first place lead in the OSBA.
All they had to do was win one of those final 2, and they
lost both. They lost their last 2 games of the year. A heartbreaker to Father Henry Carton, and Crothers went in there and showed them who the better team is. And that's got to be a travel, and Malachi Davis. Central Tech right now looks a little rusty, and you got to wonder why, because they did play in a play-in game.
I do think, though, I kind of mentioned this in the previous game, I think every team so far that we've seen has struggled a little bit in that first quarter because it is the first game. You know your season's on the line, the nerves, and
you know what, Joe, they haven't played on this court all year as well. It's a new environment. Jacob Buss trying his luck from outside, hits the front of the rim. Fuller just barely getting it out. Inside, and Davis. Great pass that time by Jamal Fuller.
And fantastic by Malachi Davis, finding some space on the inside, basically snuck underneath the basket, wide open shot. He's a great player, and if he can get looks like that all game, Lincoln Prep's in for a long night.
Davis on the year, 20 points per game. Mia Kaman can't hit the mid-range shot. And Zachary John comes out with the rebound. Zachary John, a great defender in the league this year. Davis. John a little indecisive with his move, going in strong, met at the rim. And back comes Jenkins. They got numbers. Scotty pulling up for three. No good that time. Early timeout coming here. Central Tech wants to talk it over. 4-3 they lead. You're watching the OSBA Final 8. Back here, game 3 of 4, OSBA men's quarterfinal. Sloppy start for both teams here, 4-3. And we're almost 5 minutes into this first quarter. And Ibawa comes down with the rebound. Tyson Cato. Jacob Buss for three. No good, 0 of 2 from that land. Davis. Strong move that time. Davis to the line now. Jaden Witter-Watts with an early substitution here. Kenny Nagasu is going to take a seat. Cato to bring it up now. Jenkins guarded by Witter-Watts. Jenkins floater, no good. Fuller crossover, strong move, off balance shot. Ibawa with the rebound. Nice find to Buss, and he lays it in. That's their second basket.
And that was a great pass. Both their baskets have been in the transition. Lincoln Prep's going to need to move the ball a lot quicker when they have those misses and get those rebounds. You got to push the pace.
John, scoop layup, he banks it in. Jenkins pulls up from the mid-range, gets it to go. The veteran Scotty Jenkins looking to carry this team to the next round. Witter-Watts for three, too strong. Rajic with the rebound and Jenkins to take it up. Cato, three, short of the rim. Intercepted by Jenkins. Scotty lays it in off the glass. I think we all thought he was going to pull up there from three-point range.
And I love the hesitation, too. You can notice that the guy was coming in and
Yep.
it looked like he was going to make a pass, but instead just had that enough patience to just kind of bait the defender, and he was able to make an easy shot as Malachi Davis from almost the logo.
Deep range three. Gets the switch. Pass inside to Ibawa, looking to go to work down there and draws the foul. I believe that's Atwee's second.
And both teams starting to find a little bit of a groove on offense. Only 3 baskets were made in the first 5 minutes of this game, and now both teams are starting to kind of maybe find a rhythm and find some confidence in their shot.
Deshaun Spencer into the game now for Central Tech, along with Cyrus Huggard-Noel. Ibawa good on the first, chance to tie the game.
Lincoln Prep, no one there to get the potential rebound. They're immediately going on the defensive side.
11-11, 3:14 remaining in the first quarter. Fuller, back up top to Davis. Malachi spinning back, calling for a screen. Davis, no good. Huggard-Noel can't put it in. Lots of contact, and it's going to stay with the Blues. Davis plays it off the back of the defender. What a smart play that time. 13-11. Cato, extra pass to Buss. Jacob Buss 0 of 3 from beyond the arc now. Witter-Watts, bounce pass. Spencer throws it away.
We saw a great pass and then followed by a not so great pass on that possession. And right now Central Tech, they have the lead, but maybe a little worrisome knowing that with Lincoln Prep missing 2 of their best players, for it to only be a 2-point advantage with 2:30 left, to be a little bit concerned.
Christoph McDonald into the game now for Lincoln Prep, number 12. Cato with a hard screen and a foul on Witter-Watts.
Foul number 1, David Witter-Watts. That's his first personal foul, team foul number 4.
Almost a 5-second violation here. They just got it in. Cato can't finish. Tough layup. Witter-Watts. Davis, another deep three. Davis, another made deep three.
If that shot's going in for Malachi Davis, Central Tech is tough to beat as he gets the steal and running in transition.
5 unanswered points that time by Malachi Davis within a span of 10 seconds. McDonald. Foul on the floor on Tyson Cato, offensive foul. And of course, Malachi Davis is on the receiving end of that. He's all over the floor here. Davis, hesitation dribble in the lane. Tough pass, Huggard-Noel. Foul drawn once again, 1:19 remaining. 3 team fouls. Zach Angelini, coach of Lincoln Prep, giving Tyson Cato word of advice. course, on the other end, Kevin Jeffers having an outstanding season for Central Tech. Second best record in the East this year and a record of 15-4. Just over a minute now remaining in the first quarter. 8-point lead. Nearly stolen, but a little too aggressive that time by Witter Watson. That's 2 free shots coming up now as they're over the limit.
And 2 necessary shots for Lincoln Prep because they have gone ice cold from the field in the past 2 minutes. And, 2 opportunities at the free throw line can erase that kind of 0 that they've probably been feeling in their head.
Off on the second as well. Not only cold from the field, but cold from the line. Davis nearly stripped away. Spencer, good patience that time by Desan Spencer. The lead is ballooned up to 10 now. Jenkins in the corner to Rajic. And a foul on Spencer, and 2 shots coming up here.
And I think the obvious missing piece for Lincoln Prep right now is they just don't have someone who they can go to and buy a bucket for them if they really need it. And obviously with the suspensions and 2 of their best players not on the court, that was expected. It's just they're going to really have to turn their defense into offense. They're going to need to play sound defensively and move in the transition if they want a shot here.
Well, their 2 leading scorers are not on the floor. Of course, Jeff giving you 28 points per game, and Lorenzo Barbary just under 15. That's a huge loss.
Which means your half-court sets are going to be more of a struggle, which kind of makes you want to try to quicken the pace as much as you can.
Theo Morton stepped out of bounds that time. 33.9 seconds to go. Jacob Buss back in the game, and Rajic going to take a seat. Jenkins behind the back, getting nearly stolen by Davis, and a foul on Malachi. 2 free shots coming up again here. And that happened right in front of us, and Malachi can't believe it.
Yeah, Malachi can't believe it, but you have to kind of calm yourself down in that situation. That was one of the things that we noticed in those 2 games against Father Henry Carr and Bill Crothers. When things weren't really going Central Tech's way, emotionally they seemed very flustered. And sometimes you're not going to get the calls that you want, whether it's right or wrong. You have to kind of play through it and just keep yourself composed.
Jenkins good on the first. One of 2 at the line. Central Tech can hold for the last shot here. Barnes, strong crossover, and banks it in.
Yeah, that was a great play by Barnes. Great ISO effort.
4 seconds to go. Miakamang gonna try his luck. Short, Cato gets it to go on the offensive board. What a display of athleticism that time. 23-16. That's the end of the first quarter. You're watching the OSBA Final 8 High School Championships. Second quarter action underway here. Theo Morton and Deshaun Spencer has the ball now, guarded by Mia Kamane. Saw Cato hit that buzzer beater at the end of the first. 23-16, Central Tech. And John with the tough layup that time on the spin move gets it to go. Nine-point game. Lincoln Prep is looking for an efficient way to score here. It hasn't come easy to them so far. Jenkins, three-point shot, no good. Amani Barnes spinning. Good defense by Mia Kamane. Hugger Noel, no problem in the lane. Bus, strong move cutting in, no good. You think that there'd be a call either way on that one. Jenkins, deep three. Jenkins well off the mark. Fighting for the ball, and Spencer comes away with it. John cut off. Barnes. Spencer shot fake. Tough layup attempt that time, and Cato comes down with it. Cato, Jacob Buss for three. 0 of 4 from beyond the arc now is Jacob Buss.
They've just gone ice cold entirely, Lincoln Prep.
Oh, what a play by Zachary John. Literally everything but the finish that time. Mia Kamane. Buss can't finish under the rim. And this has been a display of many missed shots here for Lincoln Prep.
Both teams are racing up and down the court. I think there's been maybe 2 points scored.
Central Tech coming off the screen here. Noel, foul. Looks like they're going to call a travel. Yep. Hugger Noel, too many steps that time. Down in the lane.
Coming into the game is Jamal Fuller. He had a quiet first quarter, and you know they have an 11-point lead, so they didn't really need him. But you know Jamal Fuller can get it going, build some momentum throughout this game, and continue to extend the lead for Central Tech. That would be massive, not just for this game, but if they move on throughout this tournament.
Jenkins held up. Mia Kamane. Inside to Cato. He's got a mismatch down there. I think they're going to call a travel, and they do. I think Cato was a little surprised to have Theo Morton on him. Of course, Central Tech, they got to feel like this is a home game. Their crowd's here, and their school is literally right up the road, playing in their own backyard throughout this whole tournament as far as they go. Morton for three, no good. Out of bounds, back to the Huskies.
Now they go back on the offensive end, and the concern is right now they just can't get a bucket. And no matter what they do, they try kind of moving fast at the start of the second quarter. They try some half-court sets, but it's been a struggle, and we expected it to be a struggle, but they're going to need to figure it out.
No good. Mia Kamane was out of bounds, and with almost 3 minutes into this quarter, and Lincoln Prep has yet to put a point up. Fuller going baseline and gets fouled. That's a tough fall. Jamal landed awkwardly there. Still down on the floor, getting up. That's a good sign.
No, actually, looks like he's trying to get up. We'll see if he can walk it off.
It's a tough fall. We already see Kaleem Libbard-Mulling out of this game with a concussion. They're hoping to have him back tomorrow, but still day-to-day right now.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we do have another basketball game after this. We have the TRC.
And they're taking out Jamal Fuller as protocol for the new concussion policy. The trainer came over and talked to them, and if he's feeling a little bit off, they're going to have to take him out of the game for at least a possession.
And you could
Get
tell
him checked out.
there was some resistance from him. It seemed like he wanted to stay in, but this is the smart call and the right call to make. You need to make sure that he's okay, and you don't want him going out there playing with concussion or any type of head
The
injury.
fall almost looked like he was almost landed on his head. I couldn't tell you for sure, but looks like that's what he's getting evaluated out there for from a distance.
And it was odd, though, because when he tried to get back up the first time, it's almost like his knee gave out a bit. So then it was a concern of, was it the knee or maybe the ankle? But, you know, they're going to go check him out right now and see if he's okay.
Cato to Mia Kamane. Down low to Cato, loses the ball in the air and banks it in. They needed that one, but Joe, I'm telling you, nothing is coming easy right now to Lincoln Prep. They're fighting for every single basket.
No, but that was a great play by Cato, following through. He shot up block, kept sight of the basketball, stayed true to what he wanted to do, and, you know, they got a much-needed basket. They just got to build off of it.
Morton under the rim. No good. Beautiful move, though.
There you go. You got your stop. Now you got to push the pace.
Cato stripped away by Zachary John. Oh, what a move. He jumps so high. It looks like he's pausing in the air.
And that's the second time in this quarter that he's had one of those flashy layups.
Lincoln Prep just ran the exact same play. The play was to get Cato inside the post. That was cut off. And no good on the jump shot that time by Douglas Charles. Tough pass. Thrown right at the crowd behind there. Cato. There it is again, the exact same play. Getting Cato involved. I think Central Tech by now has sniffed it out. John for three. No good that time. Mia Kamane. He's got some space. Too strong that time. Thought he could have finished that one off. Nagasu lays it in off the glass.
What a great pass by Malachi Davis.
Douglas Charles finishes it off. Davis inside to John, gets it to go again. It's a Skywalker right there.
And that's just another great pass by Malachi. He's a great scorer, but if he can continue to facilitate the way he has in this game, they're going to be a really tough team to stop.
14-point advantage here. Under 5 minutes to go in the first half. Davis dribbling away from the defender. Atwee, no good. And John there with the offensive board. Nagasu held up. Nagasu, tough layup. And it's going to go back to the Huskies. Going to see Lazara Jawanda get some minutes here, number 13 for Lincoln Prep. Setting the screen. Gets the switch, does the mismatch, and it rolls off the rim. Davis, crossover, three-point shot, bang! Malachi Davis put him on skates that time. And the lead is up to 17 now, and Zach Angelini wants to talk it over. It's been all Central Tech in the second quarter. You're watching the OSBA Final 8. Back here at the OSBA Final 8, Central Tech is taking a commanding lead here of 17, 3:23 remaining. Douglas Charles here. And Joe, we talked about it earlier in the broadcast about, you know, you're missing the MVP of the OSBA, Jefferson Koulibaly, and their second leading scorer, Lorenzo Barbary. Of course, due to a suspension that happened at Orangeville a couple weeks ago, a fight broke out there, and Jeff ended up getting 2 games. So did Lorenzo, and a few Orangeville players as well, Alex Nawaga, Kyler Filowich, and Shamar Rathan-Mays. But I want to take this time to congratulate Jefferson Koulibaly on the MVP, and not only that, but committing to WSU, Washington State University. Well earned this year, and it's sad to see him not in the playoffs this year, because I think this game would be completely different.
Yeah, it would be completely different, and we kind of saw it with Orangeville earlier today with those suspensions. Just, you know, you have to change your rotations, and Orangeville, 19-0, they've been the best team in the OSBA this year. They're an incredibly deep team. Lincoln Prep, they just don't have the same talent level that Orangeville has. You could say basically no team has the amount of depth that they do, and it's been frustrating, but you're right. You know, Jeff had an incredible season this year, and, you know, if he was here, I think this game would be a lot different, but he's not, and they have to move forward without him in this game, and if they can pull off this upset, the game after as well.
Jenkins to Bus. Again rolling out. We've seen that.
We've seen that plenty
Few
of
times,
and
yeah.
it's just so frustrating for Lincoln Prep.
And Nagasu on the other end. Central Tech has no problem scoring the ball here today.
Yeah, everything's starting to click, and after that first quarter, they found their groove on offense.
John Nagasu, Euro step. That was pretty.
Just such a beautiful move, and just continuing this dominant run by Central Tech. They found their rhythm. They found their spot. They're moving in the fast break. Their half-court sets. They're getting Malachi great looks. He's facilitating. And the defense here, they just called a foul, but that was still some smothering defense.
A foul on Malachi Davis again.
Malachi still talking to the ref.
Doesn't agree with it, but you're up 21 right now. 2 minutes to go in the first half. You might want to take advantage of this rest. Bus, guarded by Witter Watts. Cato up to Jenkins for 3. Jenkins gets it to fall. Witter Watts, corner 3, responds. Bus finishes it on the other end in transition. John, no good on the hook. Jenkins pulling up for 3. Looked like Witter Watts got a piece of that one. Spencer. Tough layup, in and out, and back in again.
And you can just tell that Central Tech lives and breathes moving on the fast break. They just want to go as quick as possible. And if they can get the pace of the game going the way they want it, I think they might be the toughest team to beat in the OSBA.
Jenkins to Bus. Jenkins again for 3. Gets it to go.
They got to do that more with Scott Jenkins. Kind of get him off ball, catch and shoot situations, because he can shoot the 3 well.
Witter Watts looking to respond again. Cato out of bounds. Witter Watts Spencer corrals it. Pull-up shot, gets the foul.
Foul on number 10, Jacob Bush. That's his first personal foul. Team foul number 2. Near line, shooting 2. Jay Witter, West.
Ten and a half seconds remaining after this free throw here, 18-point lead. Jenkins again for three. Almost banked that one in. Spencer almost got that one to go. And that's the end of a dominating first half for Central Tech. Up 18 here. Stick around for second half action. You're watching OSBA Final 8 High School Championships. Welcome back to the OSBA Final 8, Game 3 of 4 here on the men's quarterfinals. Lincoln Prep is falling behind Central Tech by 18 here. See if they have a run in them, and we've seen that a lot here tonight. Out of bounds, Joe, before they can even get their step or shot off.
And, you know, the key story right now is the 2 suspensions for Lincoln Prep. MVP, now current reigning MVP, Jefferson Koulibaly, was averaging 28 points. And their second leading scorer, Lorenzo Barberry's also been suspended for 2 games. And, you know, when you have guys, when you have your top 2 scorers out and you know you're going to be struggling offensively, you can't be stepping on the baseline like that. You can't commit silly turnovers like that.
And a welcome sight here for the Blues. Jamal Fuller back on the court. Looks like he's okay after taking that scary fall earlier in the game. Quick foul here.
Foul number 20, Kenny Nasaru. That is his first personal foul. Team foul number 1.
Ibawa finds the open Miakamain. One step in the line, no good. Fuller gonna try his luck from the outside. Short that time. And
Out of bounds.
just gonna stay with Central Tech. Fuller inside, gets it to go.
That's
Two
just
quick
too
baskets.
easy for Jamal
Yeah.
Fuller.
Miakamain. Ibawa, nice shot fake that time. And Miakamain gets to go. And we can't finish at the rim. Jenkins, oh, beautiful Euro step around Malachi Davis. Alley-oop coming to Fuller. Went way up to try and get that one. Miakamain, nice patience on the up and under. Still can't get it to go. Jamal, no look. Davis calling for a screen. Malachi, beautifully done on the finger roll.
Foul number 0, Malachi Davis. That's his third personal foul. Team foul number 2. Substitution
Davis coming out of the game now.
number 12, Brisson McDonald.
Jaden Witter-Watts in.
Also in for Central Tech, number 1, Jaden Witter-Watts.
Jacob Buss to Jenkins. Give and go with Cato. Buss gets the screen and a travel call.
And that was just great defense by Central Tech. Every time it looked like it got some off-ball movement, try to find an open shot on the perimeter. There was a defender right in front of them. They couldn't get anything easy, and it led to the travel.
Screen for John. Nice find inside, an easy layup there for Jamal Fuller.
John with the assist.
Jenkins, strong move, draws the foul.
And Scott Jenkins, he has been one of the better players for Lincoln Prep in this game so far. He's driving to the basket, he's shooting the three, but what's more important is he's doing all of that with some confidence in his game. And you know, he believes in himself, and he believes that he can be a difference maker scoring the basketball. Obviously, with the deficit that it is, you're going to need more than just one player to step up and play really well. But with the circumstances given for Lincoln Prep, I am impressed with Scott Jenkins' performance today.
7:01 remaining in the third quarter. 22-point lead. Game 3 of 4 in the OSBA quarterfinals. Jenkins goes 1 of 2 at the line. Fuller behind the back, spinning around. No look pass to Atwee. Floater, no good. Offensive foul. There's the screen. Jenkins fighting over it and gets it to go from the mid-range. Backcourt violation. Jenkins again for 3. No good, looking for a foul. Nagasu stripped, gets it back and lays it in. Cato trying to break down Fuller. Spin move no good. Ibawa gets it to go off glass. Oh, that was a tough layup that time.
Yeah, I thought for a second it was almost going to be a guaranteed block.
In and out that time for McDonald, and John picks it up.
And unfortunately for Lincoln Prep, they just can't seem to kind of get away from this 20-point deficit. They're making some strides offensively with Scott Jenkins making some plays. They're getting to the free throw line, but Central Tech offensively has just been in a groove since that second quarter. And, with the talent level that Lincoln Prep is at right now with their 2 top players out, this is going to be a substantial comeback if they're able to make this happen.
Christoph McDonald, 5'11" guard, class of 2020. This will be his last high school game if they lose what it's looking like it right now. They're down 20. And for a lot of these players, it will be their last game. Of course, we know Jeff is moving on to Washington State University. This is Tyson Cato's last game. Lorenzo Barbary would have been his last game. Raheem Douglas Charles, and of course Scotty Jenkins. And I think Scotty Jenkins is playing with all the pride in the world right now. He knows this is his last high school game, and he's really putting his foot on the pedal here. Fuller behind the back, gets it to go. They like to call him Lele, and he Lele'd that one in. Cato, no good that time. Nagasu with the outlet pass. John, crossover. Trying to get all flashy now, and he picks up the assist.
I think flashy was an understatement on that pass. Oh, my goodness.
They're just having fun with it now, Joe. And another turnover here. Back to Central Tech. Spencer Fuller for three. Too strong. Jacob Buss racing down the court. Jenkins, three-point shot again. Jenkins with another three. Somehow Fuller is just, he just keeps pushing it.
And for a guy his size, I think a lot of people don't expect him to be that quick, especially with his lateral quickness and his ability to grab his own rebound and just fly in the air there is so impressive. I feel like Central Tech is one of those interesting teams in this league because I feel like for a better part of this season, they felt like they were one of the favorites to win it all, in that kind of final two-game stretch there against FHC and Bill Crothers kind of maybe put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth on, you know, can they win the championship, can they do it? But I think in today's game, even though with Lincoln Prep, you know, missing two of their best players, you know, you can see the talent level on this team, and, you know, they can beat anyone when they're playing their best basketball. And, you know, if they close out this game, they got Bill Crothers again, and we know the last time what happened when they faced, they just seemed like they just weren't on the same level. But Central Tech can beat Bill Crothers. They can beat anybody.
Well, Joe, you know, they're 0-2 against Crothers this year, but you hear this a lot. More so you hear this a lot in football, but I think it's true in any sport. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year.
It is. It really is, especially in a bigger stage like this where you've seen them twice. You now know exactly what they're kind of present to you. And, you know, on a big stage, you never know. You never know who will show up on the bigger stage when, you know, everything is on the line.
Jenkins, nice move that time, just couldn't finish. And going back to Central Tech.
Substitution coming in for Lincoln Prep, number 13, Azara Nawada.
Morton tried to pass it inside and foul that time on Douglas Charles. Looked like it's going to be the first team foul on Lincoln Prep.
And we just saw Jamal Fuller leave the game. He's taking a rest. Malachi hasn't played for a little bit since he committed that foul, and, you know, we could wonder, you know, how much are we really going to see of those two guys the rest of the way with, you know, this game looking like it could be in hand by the end of the third quarter.
Well, if I was Kevin Jeffers, I don't see a reason to bring him back in.
I think it's always the debate on rest versus, you know, playing some extra minutes and kind of getting that that extra rhythm. But, you know, with the game being played tomorrow.
Well, I think when your players are doing flashy passes on purpose, I think it's time to rest your players.
It's a good point, Anthony.
Mia Kamane, no good. Spencer, Douglas Charles, no good, and Spencer gets the rebound. Trying to go up with it and draws the foul.
Foul number 5, Raheem Douglas Charles, that's his first personal foul. Team foul number 2. On the line, shooting 2. Hassan Spencer.
Winding down the third quarter here. 2 minutes remaining. Jenkins passes out of his shot to Buss. And Buss finally gets one to go from deep range. Morton, a lot of contact there, and another foul coming up.
Yeah, Lincoln Prep starting to kind of fall into a pattern of not being able to defend without fouling. They've continuously gone to the line, Central Tech, I should say, and just continuing to pile on this lead, even though it's kind of felt like it's been stuck in the 20 to 23 range. It's just continuing to go. This game is continuing to go the way of Central Tech.
Final 90 seconds of the third. Jenkins, strong move again, rejected. Spencer wide open, throws it down. Almost got rejected by the rim that time. Side to Barnes, gets it to go. Christoph McDonald for three.
Great look and great form on the shot there.
Jenkins with the steal. Bus and the foul.
And this game might have gone out of hand, but credit where credit is due. This team is not quitting. Lincoln Prep, and not to mention too, with two of your players on suspension, that also means that you don't have a huge rotation, which means these guys are playing a ton of minutes. You can even see with Scott Jenkins right now, just bending over, just feeling. You can tell he's probably exhausted. He's played almost his entire game, and he's put in a ton of effort. This whole team has put a ton of effort today. It's just sometimes it's just too insurmountable to overcome.
Hugger Noel to Barnes. Good ball movement here by Central Tech. One step in and gets the jump shot to go. Travel that time. Looks like he did shuffle his feet. Raheem Douglas Charles. Get it to go at the buzzer, and 81-57 at the end of three. Central Tech has been dominating Lincoln Prep so far. You're watching the OSBA Final 8 High School Championships. Fourth quarter action underway here, and it has been a rout if I've ever seen one, Joe. 81-57. Central Tech has won on really all facets of the game here tonight, but Lincoln Prep has put together a great effort here. You can never accuse them of not trying, and I think that's commendable.
Yeah, it's absolutely commendable, and I think that the way that they played today, obviously shorthanded, severely short. Like, saying shorthanded is an understatement. You're missing the reigning MVP of the league.
I think people need to understand, if you remember those 2018 Cavs when LeBron single-handedly carried them to the finals, it's if you take that kid off, it's if you take LeBron off that team, this sort of seems what it feels like. You take off a guy that averages 28 points per game, Joe, won the MVP. It's you know, all these players have put in great effort, but when you take off a superstar like that and you have the talent that Central Tech has, it's hard to compete any way you look at it.
And not to mention, you can't even look at your second leading scorer to kind of pick up the slack, because he's also gone for 2 games as well. So it's been one of those games. It's a disappointing.
And you know what, Joe? There's really no one else to blame for that, though. You know, I think most people know the incident that happened. We don't really need to get into it, but I think in that moment, you got to realize what's to come, that playoffs are around the corner, and you need to be there for your team. Because maybe in that moment, it felt like the right thing to do, but even if you did win this game, you'd be gone. You wouldn't be in for the next round.
And I do think that even though it's a situation that, you know, at the end of the day, Jefferson Koulibaly, Lorenzo Bargary, they have to look in the mirror and realize, you know, it's on them. They shouldn't have done that. But that's also a situation that you can grow and become a more mature player. You know what happened, and you know what you did, and you know what it's resulting in. But, you know, you can learn from that mistake, and you can become a better person and become a better player, become a better teammate off of a situation like that.
Here's Hugger Noel, one dribble off the glass.
And I think on the flip side, even though shorthanded is Lincoln Prep, Central Tech, I think, needed a big performance here. You know, coming off the end of their regular season, they played well in their play-in, and then they beat Lincoln Prep here. And, you know, with a game coming up against Bill Crothers, they're going to need to play their absolute best. And whether that means they're going to need an epic performance from Malachi Davis or Jamal Fuller or both, or even more. It's going to take a lot, but they're capable of doing it, and they're capable of beating anyone. And I think, you know, their positives outweigh their negatives, and that's why they're one of the best teams in the OSBA this year.
Good point. So after this, if Central Tech holds on, which we all expect them to do now, will be Crothers and Central Tech, like you mentioned, and of course next game between TRC and FHC, that will decide who will face the now 20-0 Orangeville Prep team. That's no easy task, but those games will be tomorrow at 2 and 4 o'clock, and of course, remember to catch our 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. women's game. Of course, you got Niagara Prep versus Capital Courts, which is going to be an outstanding game. I have no doubt about it. I was down in Niagara. I shouldn't say I was down in Niagara. I'm from Niagara. Spoiler alert. And I got a chance to call that Capital Courts and Niagara game. Yes, Niagara won by 8 or 10 points, but I don't think I've seen a team other than Crestwood this year hold Niagara to the amount of points that they did. They played exceptional defense on them, and that's why I think tomorrow, of course, you have the reigning MVP, Marissa Russell. If she gets going, anything's possible.
Yeah, anything is possible. And we kind of saw that, you know, the 3 favorites in the first, second, and third game won yesterday. Then Kings Christian was able to upset Lincoln Prep, and they've got a huge test in front of them with Crestwood.
Exactly, the reigning OSBA champs, reigning finals MVP in Aaliyah Edwards, and now the current MVP in Aaliyah Edwards is going to be there. But that's just one player out of amazing talent. They got Shan, Day Wilson, Latasha Lattimore, just to name a few ladies on that team. Rebecca Demiki, who committed to South Carolina as well. They got great talent on that team, led by Marlo Davis, now the coach of the year. Crestwood is set up to go back-to-back here, but I know one of those teams has a chance. One of those 3 teams has a good chance to spoil their parade.
And we shouldn't count out Kings Christian. I know that it's I know it's a huge task in front of them, but, you know, everyone loves a Cinderella story, and, you know, that could be them tomorrow if they can knock off Crestwood. And, you know, if Dominique Ennis plays the way that she played yesterday, you know, they might have a fighting chance. And you mentioned then also the Bill Crothers Central Tech, and then the winner of TRC FHC against Orangeville.
That's going to be a great game coming up, Joe. Perhaps maybe the most evenly matchup player-wise, talent-wise, on paper coming into today.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a game where both of those teams, whoever wins, is a team you didn't want to face in the second round. There's just so much talent on both sides. We were there for their matchup earlier on in the season, and it was a close one, and TRC coming off a back-to-back was able to go into Father Henry Carr and get that win. So it's gonna be a fun game, and I think it's gonna really showcase a lot of great players. Dawson John, Caleb Johnson, these guys
Josh
are fantastic.
Morgan. And we're assuming, because Noah Nagamba had a cast, or had one of those hard casts around his arm. We're assuming he won't play, which might lead Brendan Ocampo, perhaps the best sixth man in the OSBA this year. It might lead him to start and get more minutes here, and that's like stealing, if you ask me, to have Brendan Ocampo coming off the bench for you, averaging just over 18 points per game. That's a steal, if you ask me.
And that's the key to a lot of these great teams. A guy coming off the bench that can provide a ton of great minutes. We just watched Elijah Mahi dominate against Crestwood just a couple of hours ago. He was the X factor, and Ocampo, he might have to come into the starting lineup. They might keep him on the bench, though. You never know. They might like him in that spot and be the guy who comes off the bench and gives them good minutes on that rotation. But we won't have to wait. We won't have to wait too much longer, and I'm excited for that matchup.
100%. And Coach Jeremy Kaye of TRC trying to continue that great tradition that they've had the past couple of years. Of course, going back-to-back as champions. Former coach Tyrell Vernon is in the house somewhere here. Had a chance to interview him earlier in the year, and he told me he has great confidence in his replacement, Jeremy Kaye, who, of course, assisted him last year on TRC and that championship team and was the head coach of Rise Prep.
And that's one hell of a tradition, right? Winning championships back-to-back.
And
doesn't get any better than that.
He's done a great job in his first year as head coach. I was down in Brantford TRC earlier in the first trip I went there. I think I was doing that game solo, and I wanted to talk to him a bit and see what it's like post Tyrell Vernon. What's the pressure like? And he's just like, I welcome pressure. I want pressure, and I think that's really been the story of TRC all year. And under his first year as head coach, led them to 14-5. That's the fourth best record overall in the OSBA, and second best in the West.
Yeah, they're definitely, like I said, one of those teams you just don't want to face, because you know that when they play their best, they can play spoiler, they can be the better team, they can do whatever they want. And I think if Orangeville, watching the next game, whoever wins, it's going to be a matchup where they're going to have to take seriously, especially shorthanded.
Mm-hmm. They will be getting Kyler Filowich back, however, next game. A dominant big man down low. They like to post him up often. Coming up on halfway through this fourth quarter, Central Tech up 89-68. And Central Tech, their benches on the floor here, and Ibawa called for the foul on the jump shot here.
And one of those guys on the bench right now, one of those starters was Jamal Fuller, first-team All-Star for Central Tech. He was a key component on why Central Tech was so good this year. And he didn't do much today. He ended up suffering that injury in that first quarter, either end of the first quarter, near the beginning of the second. And once he came back in, the game was already well in hand. So I expect big things from him moving forward the rest of this tournament. And
next game, we're going to see two second-team All-Stars, and with Dawson John and Caleb Johnson. But you can make the argument that those guys belong on the first team. There's just so much great play in the OSBA this year and so much parity. And I don't think we've ever had a year like we had this year with the amount of talent that we have in the OSBA. Cato gets held up there. Jenkins going to let it fly. Douglas Charles with a strong rebound.
Yeah, and to your point, Anthony, I completely agree. I almost kind of had to do a double take when I saw the announcement that Caleb Johnson was a second-team All-Star, and then I looked at the first-team All-Stars, and I was like, well, I can't take any of these guys out either. So it kind of makes sense. There's just so much talent in the OSBA, and a lot of these guys are in the tournament still, and to come in the next game, like you mentioned, Dawson John and Caleb Johnson.
Brendan Ocampo. I want to correct myself earlier in the broadcast. I said he was averaging 18 points. He's averaging 20 and a half now through 14 games so far this year. And Josh Morgan, who started to come back, is averaging 17 and a half. And Noah Nagamba, who averages 14 and a half, and is second on their team in rebounds with 8.5. You know, that's going to be a big loss tonight. They got to really try and find that replacement here tonight, because he doesn't give you just great offensive minutes, but he's a hustle player and he's a great defensive player.
Yeah, and those numbers that you mentioned, those aren't small numbers, and that's going to be hard to replicate. So they're definitely going to be shorthanded, but we've kind of seen that with a lot of teams in this tournament, and you know, some of it is self-inflicted wounds with the suspensions, but then just injuries. It's a long season, and when it comes to March, it's hard to stay fully healthy.
And the thing is, Joe, that's been Father Henry Carr all year. They have really not been fully healthy in a long time. And that game that we saw them fully healthy against Central Tech, they look like they can beat anybody in this league. And a big guy that really stepped up while Josh Morgan was gone was Jemiah Brown-Jeffers. He could be the X factor in this game here today.
They can be an X factor for the whole tournament if they can get through. They have a ton of talent on their team.
Timeout here, 92-75. We're going to take a step aside. 3:03 remaining. back here to close out the game. Final 41 and 41.8 seconds. Jenkins letting the three go here. Almost got it to go. Fighting for the ball. Cato not giving up. Back out to Barnes. Theo Morin to Desan Spencer. Nice move that time with the acrobatic layup. And that'll pretty much do it here. Douglas Charles hop step. Can't get it to go. Ibawa. Jacob Buss for three. No good. And a foul. Two shots coming up here for Ibawa. Off the mark there, and Central Tech can just dribble it out. Lincoln Prep, good effort here on the comeback, but not avail here, and that'll do it for Lincoln Prep season. Central Tech has a date with Bill Crothers tomorrow, trying to redeem themselves from those previous two losses during the year. But 94-82, Central Tech moves on. And that'll do it for OSBA Final 8 High School Championships. One more game to go. TRC and Father Henry Carr up next. Stick around.